What message does that send to young dark-skinned people that the only time that you're ever represented is when there's movies about slavery, movies about colonialism, historical movies of the past. But whenever there's futuristic sci-fi, whenever there's movies about family, you're nowhere to be found. It almost makes you feel like you're not existing. It's like it makes it seem as if light-skinned genes is only passed down to women, and like it's just like a feminine, like the light-skinned gene is a feminine trait.
Sometimes it don't make no sense. Does it really have to? There is nothing I can say.
Hi, welcome to Maya's World. So I hope everyone's having a really good Black History Month. Today's topic for the video is going to be around erasure, because I saw the film You People by Kenyabarris. Barris? And he's a menace. Yeah, Kenya's a menace. Yeah. So some of y'all follow me on Instagram, and I made these slides that I poured so much into. I'm really trying to get in my designer bag. I'm trying to get better at designing things and making educational content and stuff like this. And it was kind of doing well on Instagram. So I was like, okay, let me take it to YouTube, talk about my ideas and explain the headline and explain what's going on. So if you're new to my channel, my name is Mayawa. I do a lot of content around anti-Blackness, texturism, featureism, colorism, pretty much all of the isms that systematically affect Black people. Today's topic is going to be around erasure and media. So I saw You People, and I feel like it was the camel that broke the cow's back. I don't know the expression, the needle that broke the hay. I don't know. It was the end for me. I was at the end. I was like, it's done. I'm over. It's making me so mad. I typically okay, so just by how it looked, I already knew it was going to be a mess. And I typically don't watch things that I know will be a mess, but I decided to watch it just to give me a little more vim and a little more fire in my blood. Because when I saw it, I was like, what's going on? What's really going on? This isn't going to be a dissection of the film You People. If you guys want to watch that, you can join my Patreon. I'm going to do a video where I exclusively talk about how You People make me feel. But just to keep it, just to keep a little bit calm for the YouTube, I'm going to talk about dark skin erasure. So the question that I have for media, for Hollywood, for Kenyabarris is, do y'all feel like dark skinned people are existing in the future? Because something that's been going on for over a decade, films stay having this one specific trope that I just find so boring and problematic, which is where you have dark-skinned elders, you have dark-skinned parents, you have a dark-skinned dad, and light-skinned children, biracial children, racially ambiguous children. And it's not just one-off thing. It's like, this is the standard. It's like Hollywood is like, dark-skinned man, light-skinned woman, mixed-race child. Like, boom, it's the same template over and over and over again. And I feel like this is actually going to something bigger that I think is a propaganda that is being pitched. And it was really fueled by what I heard Kenyabarris say. I didn't hear him say it, but what I read Kenyabarris say in an interview. So Kenyabarris said that, in quote, "I think most people who studied the American landscape would say that some sort of mixed race look will be in the next 30 to 40 years. So it really had me thinking, yeah, if that mixed race look is gonna be in 30, I'll still be alive, like hopefully, God willing, in 30 to 40 years. So will I just be out? Will I perish? Will my kids just not exist? What's going on where but I think that there's a bigger systemic push to have people believe that the world will be more mixed race. The reason that this is problematic is because there's a push that has been happening for over a century, really, with my research, where we want to believe that mixed race people are going to be the face of America. In 1995, the cover of Time magazine is a racially ambiguous woman, and it says, "The New Face of America, How Immigrants Are Shaping the World, First Multicultural Society." And then in smaller text, it says, "Take a good look at this woman. She was created by a computer from a mix of several races. What you see is a remarkable preview." But what this fails to include in the analysis is that Black, dark-skinned people can also be immigrants. And if the biggest growing continent on the world is Africa, what does that, particularly Nigeria, what does that mean when you're saying that the future of the world is mixed race? Does that mean that you're not counting the continent that's growing at its fastest rate. It's just, I think that there's a push to say the world is going to be mixed race because that is the only solution that white supremacy sees as an answer for systemic racism. The earliest thing I see is from 1930s by this, I don't know, Austrian guy. So the reason that this is also problematic is because it assumes that racial mixing is always going to be with a lighter race or like a white person or a non-black person. A lot of Africans are intermarrying. A lot of diasporic Africans are intermarrying. There are a lot of African Americans that get with Jamaicans, a lot of Nigerians that will get with African Americans. Like these are also people who have multi-ethnic identities that are continuously erased because we focus on multiculturalism looking light skin. So the root of how we view multiculturalism is almost innately colorist. All these articles that have been around for hundreds of years, well, not, I don't know about hundreds, child, but for a while, that's saying that mixed race is the future, multiculturalism is the future. It creates this complex where a lot of people really believe that mixed race people are advanced, are a more refined version of blackness. And that's where I see all of this going. Kenyabarris' ideology of saying that mixed race people are going to be in reminds me of this Brazilian painting. When I saw this, it really shook my brain. But it's like you see this dark-skinned woman and she's praying over her biracial child who has a white husband, and the child is like, the grandkids are white, and she's looking so happy because she wants to rid herself of her blackness. And that is what I feel like I'm seeing nonstop. I wanted to just highlight that it's just happening so much, and I find it really boring. So take, for example, in You People, Eddie Murphy, dark-skinned man, Nia Long, brown-skinned woman, Lauren London, biracial. Yeah. So I'm just gonna show slides of how it happens in media. We have Casey Undercover, we have Greenleaf, we have My Wife and Kids, we have The Sun is Also a Star. And not even just to focus on Hollywood movies, but even in cartoons, even in The Proud Family, where the two sons are dark-skinned and the two women are light-skinned. Like, it's like, it makes it seem as if light-skinned genes is only passed down to women. And like, it's just like a feminine, like the light-skinned gene is a feminine trait. You know, when you do your like genetics and it's like the it's like a feminine trait, and it's really not. And I'll never forget this. Like, this is kind of off topic, but one time when I was in Germany, this German guy, a white guy, yeah, he asked me, he said, "Oh, where are you from?" I said, "Oh, I'm American," because I'm not trying to tell people like, yeah. Okay, so yeah, I'm American. He goes, "Oh, I didn't know Americans come as dark as you." I said, "What?" He said, "Yeah, I thought that all Americans were like Beyonce's color or like Rihanna. I didn't know Americans come dark." And that's when I knew. I said, "Oh, wow, like the global propaganda is to make every place that has a lot of black people seem like it's just always lighter." And I know that this happens in so many different like scenarios. When I was living in Germany, I have a lot of black German friends, yeah. But when it comes to media representation of Germany, they're gonna show you people who are usually biracial. Even though there's dark-skinned people like me in Germany, there's dark-skinned people like me in Hungary. When I went to Hungary, I saw dark-skinned people like, there's dark-skinned people like everywhere, but the representation of every country is going to be lighter and lighter. And I know some people are gonna say to me, "Oh, that's just genetics. Sometimes one child can be light." Be serious. Please, like really be serious. Like when you're really thinking about it, it's like, why is it always a woman? This is not about genetics. It's not about please don't tell me like an individual rare situation. Most black people, dark-skinned people will have dark-skinned children. It's just normal. Just like most people who are light-skinned, if you have a light-skinned partner, you're most likely gonna have light-skinned children. There's anomalies, but the anomaly shouldn't be the standard, especially if black men are allowed to be their complexion in all totality and have representation in all black movies. Like, I am not seeing black men get erased. In You People, Eddie Murphy and Nia Long created one biracial and one light-skinned child. So it's like, what message does that send to young dark-skinned people that the only time that you're ever represented is when there's movies about slavery, movies about colonialism, historical movies of the past. But whenever there's futuristic sci-fi, whenever there's movies about family, you're nowhere to be found. It almost makes you feel like you're not existing. If you like look at the concept of like race science, there's some people are gonna be like, "Oh, why are you caring so much about biracial and black, like it's all the same?" But it's like, no, we need to also understand that people have used science and eugenics to try to erase and make black people feel inferior, right? So if someone is saying that if you say that mixed race people are gonna be in the future, that also is saying that dark-skinned people are going to be out in the future. So what does it mean? Like, and when you constantly have media that only big ups light-skinned people, that only big ups biracial people, it is going to it is going to create a pattern where dark-skinned people by default are going to have low self-esteem because they're not going to be represented. And when you have low self-esteem, it's easier to eradicate. It's easier to have them want to marry out. And when I say marry out, I mean intentionally marry people of different ethnic groups to erase the blackness. Like so many people and their dating habits is coming from a place of not wanting to continue to be as dark as they are or as black as they are. And people's anti-blackness comes out in really strange ways. And Barris, like the way he makes his film, I feel like I can really see it. The way he depicts black people, like even in the film You People, there was no woman darker than Nia Long. In the film, like there was Carisha, there was, you know, the only time I saw dark-skinned people in abundance was that one scene where he went to the barber shop in the hood and he was wearing red and everybody was wearing blue or whatever, and everybody was dark. So when it comes to like street and ghetto culture and places that you come to appropriate and places that you come to hang out and like places that can elicit violence, dark-skinned people will be found. In places that elicit like softness and, you know, tenderness, light-skinned people will be there. The amount of harm I've seen on dark-skinned people in media is wild. Like, it's a reason why I just can't watch things. Like, it is so rare to find like a love story that has two dark-skinned people loving each other without violence also being in the mix. Which makes me wonder, like, what is so controversial and scary to you about seeing two dark-skinned people love each other? Why is that something that is intentionally being erased? It is systemic. Black people are being erased systemically. And if we were to actually, like, you know, when we think about the first black lawyer, the first black doctor, the first black blah, 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 blah. If we were really to like kind of lift the veil, if we said how many of those people are monoracial or how many people are dark skinned, I think it would really show a different everything. It would show a different everything. Because I don't really think that black people are progressing the way that we think they are. I think biracial people are progressing off of the backs of blackness in terms of like media representation. And so, yeah, I think we are trying to groom a culture like Barris's films where he erases dark-skinned people and he paints us in bad light is grooming us into believing that dark-skinned people will not be there in the future. And the only time that dark-skinned people are really seen is when we're in servitude, when we're, you know, the help, which plays into mammy tropes. And also, once again, we need to uncouple seeing dark-skinned people and seeing violence in media. It's really fucking sick. So the last question I'm gonna end on is if dark-skinned people are only in the past, what do you think it says for our future? Like, that's really something I've been thinking, like, if we're really only of the past, like we're out of fashion, our complexion is no longer in, what does that say for moving forward? I'm in my bell hooks bag, y'all, but yeah. So if you made it to the end, let me know. My makeup today is inspired by someone I follow online called Blackbird Kai. They're an incredible makeup artist. I'm gonna put up a picture. But yes, I'm in my blue era these days. I'm worried that this is not in focus. I'm in my blue era these days. So I'm wearing Calvin Klein thing I got, a turtleneck, and blue makeup. So yeah, thanks for watching. Have a great day. Bye.